Live from Los Angeles, here are your hosts, Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, and Max Brown.
Hello and welcome to Trojans Live, presented by Monster Energy on AM 790 KBC and across the USC Trojans Media Network, live here on our YouTube channel, USC Athletics. I am Jordan Moore alongside the All-American Sean Cody, our quarterback Max Brown, and we're thrilled to be joined by Alex Grinch sitting in the hot seat tonight. Our interview with the defensive coordinator is presented by I Trust Capital, the official crypto platform of the USC Trojans. Thank you, Coach Grinch, for joining us tonight. And what a great way to go into the bye week. Certainly from the outside, our eyes, it looked like it all came together defensively on Saturday night. What it looked like from the inside.
Yeah, certainly some positive. I mean, as you go through the first couple weeks of the season, obviously to have a bye week after week 3 is fairly unusual. Yeah. I mean, and not that there's a specific spot to have one, but if you could script it through 3 weeks, you script everything perfect, in La La Land, but that's not how this thing goes. And so, one of the things that what you say as a coach is give us as much adversity as we can and give us the win, and then that gives us a chance to coach and respond to some things, and you don't make a season in 3 weeks. So in any event, seeing some positive signs and certainly going in the right direction, and as we tell the guys, the best is yet to come, and I believe that, and I think the guys do too, and I think certainly without some warts, there was some positive things on Saturday.
Coach, I thought your group specifically had a really good night. Kalen Bullock and Max Williams with the big interception, and Bryson Shaw. Mm-hmm. I thought he was laying the hammer out there. Mm-hmm. He had some big hits. Talk about your group a little bit and the growth they've seen in the first 3 games. Yeah, I think you're seeing an experienced unit, and you add Jalen Smith who's playing at a different level. All those guys, and you really don't call them triangle safeties because the nickel's kind of towards the line of scrimmage more so, but have so much in the way of formation recognition and kind of where they're in the box and mixing up in the run game, to your point, or obviously being pass first defenders at the same token, but seeing some physical play and some confident. There's tackling, there's confident tackling, mm-hmm. and it doesn't take a trained eye to see the difference between. I'm not a trained eye for sure. I just saw Brace
that's it.
Knocking people out, baby.
But that's one of the things we don't say it. I guess we sometimes say it jokingly, but we don't mean to joke. In that the untrained eye at home should see the different level of strain and physicality that it looks and they can recognize it. This doesn't look like high school football, And so, in any event, to see that on display, and some of that is the off season, playing its part, which it should, right? When you're bigger, faster, and stronger, you should be able to attack other humans in a different way, And so, been pleased, certainly with that group, and we've seen a lot of formations and a lot of adjustments over the first 3 weeks. Which, again, if you could script it and you can survive it, it really can lend itself to some real positives, because all those things you're going to see over the course of the season. So, needle was pointed up.
I know for me, going into the first couple of weeks of the season, I was curious to see what life would be like post-Tuli Pelotu. Obviously moved on to the NFL. How big of an adjustment has it been getting this defense together without having a guy that last year it felt like so much of the defense was focused around him? And then I know they're different players, but it feels like Bear Alexander has really stepped up as that defensive lineman that pops. I guess just from your perspective, calling this defense, how different is it this year compared to last year?
Well, it's immensely different, and some of that is you got a core group of guys that have been around, with us for what is 20 months or whatever it's been. And the obvious guy, when we came here, and it didn't take many days to kind of circle the alpha, and then to his credit and Coach Nua's credit, that continued to be the case, not just in off season and on the practice field, but he did it on Saturdays, and so you kind of you say build a defense maybe inside out or front to back or whatever you want to do that way, but it's hard to build 10 around one in defensive football. Offensive, we explain to the guys, offensive football, 10 guys can get it wrong, one guy gets it right, and if that guy's holding on to the football. And we call that being anti-fragile, and then defensively, what's the equivalent? And the easy answer there isn't one. But if you're going to circle something, it's got to come from your defensive front. And so, Tuli obviously gave us a chance to keep our heads above water as we went through last season, and guys got certainly better as we went. But no, you mentioned a guy like Bear, and a little bit more maybe by committee, which is a good thing. As we're rolling guys through the defensive front. But that's got to be I don't know if it's the trump card yet, but we're working towards that. But making sure that those guys in the front can disrupt, obviously, and then the next piece was where Tuli was so special was the production piece. Not just being disruptive. So been fairly pleased and excited by some of those clips of disruption.
You're listening to the defensive coordinator, Alex Grinch, on Trojans Live. And, Coach, coming into the season, we were all very excited to see Mason Cobb, and hopefully we'll get to see plenty of him as the season goes on. But he's been banged up. Eric Gentry was banged up. You've had to lean on two younger linebackers, at least in terms of playing experience, and certainly Tackett just young in general. What have you seen out there from Tackett Curtis and the emergence of Rajon Davis, a guy who was almost forgotten at times in this program before you guys arrived?
Well, and whatever we've talked about it, but I mentioned your biggest frustration was guys get opportunities, and they're going to tell you in a one-on-one conversation how badly they want those opportunities, and you get so frustrated when they don't take advantage of it. And sometimes those opportunities come earlier rather than later, and sometimes they're wrapped up in you show up from Manning, Louisiana, as a true freshman, and then you show up in the spring and some guys are getting banged up, so those one reps come quickly. So everybody's on different layers of this thing, and then Rajon's opportunity would have been obviously a couple years removed from high school, but was really pleased that a week ago Rajon getting an opportunity to start for the first time, and that's not a little thing, and thought he did a nice job, and continue to progress in that unit. And a guy like Tackett is there's not a team in the country, and I don't want to put too much on him, but I guess if we're starting him, I guess that's already the case. But there's not a team in the country that doesn't want Tackett Curtis on their roster, and so he's one of those guys probably similar to a quarterback where you're learning on the fly, and you're getting some fastballs, and you can't press the pause button in the middle of the play and stuff like that. But all those things he's learning from, and could not be more excited about him. And it's going to flip for him fast in terms of getting the production, and they're going to turn in some really exciting plays for us.
Coach, I wanted you to take this opportunity, maybe talk a little bit about play calling. A lot goes into it. Obviously, last year's defense is different than this year's defense. You have to learn the guys that you have and the plays you want to call. Is it a process of kind of learning these guys individually to see what you want, or is it kind of a philosophy that have the defenses you're going to run? Yeah,
I think some of it's philosophy. Some of it, give you an example. Like we were single gap defense in our defensive front. Some people use two gapping. And that's a big picture.
I was a one gap guy. I was just trying to get here. I don't want to hold up guys, Coach.
Right. Well, and I think most people don't. And as a guy that didn't play defensive line, but if you asked me to run to a 300-pound lineman all day long, that wouldn't be. Right. Which then lends itself, as we're watching the video with the guys, real simple. If you're running into guys, that's not our defense, because that is always available to you. As we tell the guys, it's always available to you to get blocked. Oh, I got blocked, type of thing. So anyway, that's a philosophical thing. When we talk about the run game, we say run game should look like pressure. It should look like blitz. So you don't have it's not your opinion as a linebacker, for instance, that you stutter your feet in the hole and kind of wait to kind of see where the ball is. You have a gap. If the D-line has one, you have one, and you got to fire the gun. So some of those things are philosophical. We want to be more match principles on the back end. The offenses are looking for space and to use speed, and so we're trying to eliminate those two things, space and speed. And so it's very difficult to do so and without dropping 9 guys and 8 guys, and that's just philosophically we want to rush 4. So those things certainly play into it. And then there's also that element that you're saying, and we kind of categorize it in 2 ways. There's defending and there's attacking. And defending is formation recognition. Defending is making sure you got a checker where you need a checker. And defending is making sure that you limit some of the exposure of certain guys at certain spots. For instance, we want to play man coverage. That's fine, but you can't put that guy in man every single snap, right? So there's the defensive piece, and then the attacking piece is just exactly what it implies. The attacking piece is putting guys in position that you can attack the opponent and look to exploit any weaknesses they may have, and put guys in the position they can play downhill and then attack. And so from a play calling standpoint, you got to make sure that you're not doing too much of one or the other. If you attack too much and you're not defending enough, then you run the risk of putting yourself in some real blind spots. And The flip side, and this would apply probably more to us maybe in the first year, where you defend too much and you're so conscious of making sure that that checker's where it needs to be, and making sure that you don't put a guy in a situation that he can't be successful, and you're looking at it through the lens of you get through a Saturday game day and how much of the conversation the previous week was about attacking the opponent. Yeah, and so there's a responsibility piece, and again, I'm not saying we ever get it perfect. Right, certainly not, and then when it doesn't work, it's on us, and the easy answer is it wasn't right. But that's something that's really appropriate, for us as we've gone through the off season and gotten into the second year. Is we have to make sure that at USC football, we're not, our job is not protect guys. Our job is to attack the opponent. So that's an ongoing deal.
Goals for the bye week?
Goals for the bye week. I think each individual guy certainly, they have theirs. I mean, but we got to make sure we don't lose to bye. We got to make sure that we gain over the course of the week. Every team in the country is practicing. We got to make sure that we're getting something out of it. And most specifically, the next opponent on the schedule is Arizona State. But we know there's a lot of other guys coming, so it's an opportunity to look at some guys. And it could be a guy that didn't have as much reps in a fall camp that we were excited about, but just didn't get a chance to evaluate. Maybe so there'll be some moments for that, and obviously stay healthy. But momentum's a real thing, and so we got to make sure that we're fighting to not keep it, but kind of the pedal down, because there's a lot out there for us, and certainly there's nothing we can't get better at. So the goal is to get better.
Well, we've got a game time for that next game if you haven't seen it. So bye week this week, then the Trojans go on the road for the first time to Tempe, Arizona State, 7:30 p.m. kick. So not surprising, a late night kick in the desert early on in the season. So that'll be a little Pac-12 after dark for the Trojans on the road, but the bye week first. And this show is brought to you by Monster Energy, the official energy drink of USC. Unleash the Beast. And Trojans Live is also sponsored by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC football. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Enjoy your bye week. And when we come back, we're going to talk to one of your colleagues, Dennis Simmons, USC's assistant head coach, outside wide receivers coach. He's next on Trojans Live.